Welcome
This
back,
meeting
punters,
is
to the
being recorded.
Broncos' finest podcast. Today we are going to touch on the NRL Round 1 preview. We're going to do a quick preview of each game, and obviously we're going to talk a bit more on the main event, right, the Broncos-Rabbits game. And I suppose we'll go over a bit more about that, just teams and stuff like that. Anyways, how you doing, boys? I'll start off with Aaron. He's new to the podcast, not the usual. So how you doing, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Fitzy, how yourself, mate?
Not bad at all. What about you two boys? Corky first.
Yeah, mate, not too bad. Just casual Wednesday night for me.
Typical Wednesday night. Thank you.
Yeah, good, mate. Sounds like Corky's onto the warm mangoes already. Was that you? With the
that was mine. That was me.
All right.
Super keen.
Yeah, going pretty good.
Super keen for this week, boys, for round one. I'm honestly going to try and stay home and watch most of the footy if I can. And I'm into all the games. I don't know about everyone watching, but I'm massive into the Supercoach. I know Aaron's got a team and everything as well. So it normally keeps me involved the whole entire week with footy. But obviously just mainly keen for this Broncos-Rabbits game. But let's just go through, I suppose, each game, just give a quick preview. We'll all give a bit of a prediction as to what we think is going to happen. And, maybe we can do that each week and just sort of see what we, I suppose, get involved in some sort of tipping comp or something, right?
Sounds good to me.
Cool. Anyways, we'll go through the Panthers and Eagles game first. Obviously, the big omission from that is Nathan Cleary out, not playing. For me, that is, enough to sort of change my pick from Panthers to Manly. I know you spoke a little bit on it before. Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you, Fitzy. I was going Panthers until obviously Cleary got ruled out. Plus, I think the back end of Manly last year, they came in really strong. So, yeah, I think Manly might even put a number on them quietly.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared to play to play Manly. I think this year, just for the way Turbo's looking. But we'll hopefully we've improved a lot since last year, and we wiped the floor with them, eh?
Manly by.
What do you reckon?
Manly by I don't know 20, I reckon, without Cleary there.
It's going to be
hopeless without him.
Yeah, it's going to be a wet weather game as well. Like apparently, it's still pretty bad there in Penrith, flooding wise and stuff. So I would expect that.
They'll just slip off Turbo then.
Yeah, exactly. It might be a lower scoring game, But honestly, Turbo can run like a front rower too, So it's it might favour him in a way. What do you reckon, Corks?
Man, I'm going to back the Panthers still on this one.
You
shut down Tommy Turbo and they got nothing. So I think they got the talent to do it.
I can somewhat agree with you there as well. I'll still go with Manly, but maybe not by as much. Obviously, if it's going to be a low-scoring game, I'm going to probably say about 4, maybe 4 points there, I suppose. But yeah, three of us Manly, one of us Panthers. What about this next game, boys? We'll just quickly touch on each one, and we'll get to the main event as fast as possible. Raiders Sharks. What do you boys think there? I suppose the Raiders, they were going to go with, I think it was Fogarty who was going to play in the halfback. Just came over to the club from the Titans, and he's ruled out. And then they're going to run with a new halfback in Schneider there. Sharks, to me, are looking really good this year. Obviously, they've had a few, marquee signings, in particular Hines from the Storm. So what do you boys think of this game? We'll start off with your first, Finch.
Yeah, definitely Sharks in this one, I think. Hines is in. They make a massive difference to their back line. Arguably probably the best signing this year, I reckon. Besides, obviously, the main event Reynolds. But yeah, I think. Oh, Sharks by 10.
Sharks by 10. Nice. What do you think?
Yeah. Mate, yeah, I'm going Sharks. Probably by 4 to 10. I don't know. Raiders
can't be on the fence.
Every couple of years they have a good season, but it's going to take them a few rounds to get started. So, going Sharks for me.
You going the same, Aaron?
No, I think I might go just the fact that I think it's going to be a while before Nico Hines goes in and gels with that team. And I'm interested to see how he goes. Obviously playing a strong Storm system made him look really good. Going to the Sharks, going to be a lot of pressure on him. He's obviously playing half there now, where I think he played a lot of fullback for the Storm. So I think he'll go right, but I think it'll take a few weeks. So I think Canberra might just edge it out there a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't like the way Hines looked in I think it was the All Stars game he played in. But then I watched the trial last week and he absolutely killed it. So it's a bit. I'm not 100% sure there, but we'll see what it's like round one. But I'm going to go Sharkies. Probably by about a try or two, I would say. Let's go 12 points. Skipping the main event, and we'll go straight through to the first Saturday game, Roosters and Knights. For me personally, I honestly don't see the Knights coming anywhere near the Roosters, especially if it ends up clearing up the weather and it's dry. I feel like the Roosters 13 plus quite easily. What do you boys think? What do you think, Paul?
No, I think the Roosters put an absolute flogging on them. Honestly, Knights aren't ready.
I didn't like what I saw from the Knights in the trials either. Are you going the same, Aaron? Or?
Yeah, I'm with the Roosters too, but I'm interested to see how Milford goes. Newcastle once he gets back. I think his charges got dropped today.
Yeah, I think they said a few months he might be in there.
Yeah, around 10, I think he might be available, but yeah, we'll just see how they go down there. But no, I think Roosters way too strong this early on.
Yeah, definitely. Same thing, sure.
Yeah, if there was ever a 13 plus bet I put on this year, this would have to be one of them, I think.
Yeah, one that might work out for you. Yeah. And then after that, following that, we've got the Warriors and the Dragons. For me personally, looking in the Warriors' run of like the first 5 games, honestly, I feel like they're winnable for all of them. I think they've got the easiest run to start the season out of any team, and it's going to be sort of interesting to see how it goes. But against the Dragons team that just beat the Rabbits in the Charity Shield, it could be an interesting game. I suppose with how the Dragons played in that game, but I still personally believe that the Warriors will do it. But again, I think this one could go either way. What do you think? Go, Aaron.
Mate, yeah, I'm going Warriors.
Warriors?
I'm going Warriors in this one. They got a good spine this year, so it's looking positive for them.
Yep. What do you reckon?
Dragons in a close one, I reckon. 4 points.
Dragons in a close one, you think?
Yeah, 4 points, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm going to
What do you
go.
reckon, Az?
I'm going to go Warriors. I just think it's going to go down to the halves there. I think Sean Johnson, just with the experience. I think that Dragons got a new half in that young fella.
Yeah. Is it Clune?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Sorry, no. Who is it? I'm going to quickly get now.
Telatatu Amoni?
Yeah, getting the wrong team. No, it's Amoni they've got in 5'8".
I just think Sean Johnson will be key in that game, just leading the Warriors around. They've always got a tough forward pack, and I actually think they might put on a bit of a score against the Dragons. Unfortunately, sorry, the big Red B fans out there. We're going 13 plus Warriors.
I like to look at the Warriors squad. I think this year, the especially when Tohu Harris comes back into that squad, I like to look at their forward pack. Some young backs though, but yeah, Sean Johnson back in that side, I think really bolsters their stocks, I guess. But yeah, I will say maybe Warriors by 10. And I suppose another safe bet I would say for a 13 plus game for me, even though they're missing, even though I hate to say it, even though they're missing Munster. Say
it.
I feel like the Storm definitely for another bit of a flogging this weekend. But again, I think depending on weather, this is being played at CommBank, home of the Eels, I'm pretty sure. I suppose, what do you boys think of this one?
Mate, you know which way I'm going.
Yeah, obviously Storm supporter over here. Yeah, mate, they're playing the Tigers, and Tigers are useless. I've got nothing else to say. 13 plus.
I got a doozy for you. Who's our good friend Mackin going for in this one?
Yeah, I know. Both of these
He's going to have to get one of those half jerseys. They're going to
get
forever. 30 plus Storm.
You reckon same, Aaron?
Yeah, I think Storm's going to smash the old Tigers. Feel sorry for the poor Tigers. I reckon they're coming 10th this year, so one less than the normal 9th, but Storm's way too strong.
Imagine this game with Munster and Grant there as well too. I think is there any others missing? I'm pretty sure there might be as well too.
Yeah, the captain just got ruled out. Who's a big? What's his name?
Oh, Tamia.
No, Storm's captain's out.
Oh, which one is Storm?
They ruled out yesterday. Simona or whatever his name is. Big rock.
Oh, Bromwich.
Yeah, Bromwich is there as well. Yeah, well, Bromwich has got ruled out, did he?
Yeah, I've seen something that said he got ruled out. So
Yeah, damn, I didn't even see that. Okay, interesting. I changed my mind too much, so they're still going to flog the Tigers anyway. In terms of the
they
Eels,
could have the first grade team. They'll beat the Tigers.
yeah, 100%.
I think the Shearers are a bit Tigers this week. So
What do you think of the Eels and Titans games, boys? I reckon that's going to be a good game, but I think both real attacking sides. I would say if it's dry there on by Sunday, then I feel like it's one of them games where both teams can like attack really well, but then the defense isn't as good. But Eels, I suppose, if you look at from the Panthers game, everyone's been saying the Panthers had a weaker squad, but like I think they were missing Cleary and Isaiah Yeo. I don't know about many else. I know they changed their team up a bit, but like 30-0 in a trial. Again, I can't look at trials too much, but yeah, Eels are looking good for me. I'll go the Eels by about I think comfortable 2 tries.
Oh, I'm going to go Smoky
go-
Titans. I think.
Yeah,
Sorry, Wolverine, to cut
you.
you off there, mate. Sorry to cut you off there, Wolverine.
Probably finish what you're saying.
Tigers, not Tigers, Titans by probably 8 points. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go high scoring game. Titans, though, they started to build a bit of momentum towards back end of last year. Hopefully, they can build off it. I'd like to see Queensland teams do well. So, unless they're playing the Broncos, of course, but yeah.
I'm the opposite of that. Hey, I'm like big into that rivalry. Obviously, with me, I don't know. I just if you have a local team, I just don't like it. That's what it's going to be like with Redcliffe for me. I think next year I'm going to have no sympathy towards them at all. I don't care if they're starting up. I want us to smash them every game. I'm always like that. What do you reckon, Aaron? What do you reckon there?
Eels, easy.
Eels.
They're just Eels. I think are a good chance of shaking up top 4 this year. So
I just think
Titans are going to have a good year as well, but Eels they start off usually pretty strong. So yeah, I'm liking the Eels in that one. I think it'll be a close one, but like I think Corky was saying, it'll be high scoring. Yeah, I'm just going to go for the Eels.
I think it's if old Fafita, if he shows up or not, I think the Titans win, right? That seems to be the case most of the time, and I think it's obviously it sucks that we let him go because he's such a good player, but he does tune in and out of games a lot.
It's not worth the price tag for sure.
Not that price tag, no. And then the last game we're just going to brush over here, just Cowboys and Dogs. I honestly, I'm probably the game that I'm not in a super coach point of view. I'm really keen to see it, but from an actual just general fan, I'm maybe not as keen. I want to see how the Bulldogs gel, and I suppose the Cowboys have got a few plays in there too. But I personally would like to see the Dogs win against the Cowboys, obviously with a rivalry there. But I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm just going to say the Cowboys by a try. What do you reckon, Aaron?
I'm going Dogs. I think Cowboys are possible spoon favourites this year. I just don't like
to say that.
I know there's going to be a lot of Queensland that hate me, but I think the Dogs they're going to be just outside the 8 this year and surprise a few teams, but I think the Cowboys are going to stink it up real bad this year. Sorry, Cowboys fans, but yeah.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because I know I just said I like Queensland teams to do well, but after 2015, I fucking hate the Cowboys. Pricks. So I hope they are wooden spooners.
Yeah, I'm going Dogs too by 4 points. I don't know that if they're going to be much better this year, but I don't know. I reckon, is this the battle of the spoon this game, or really early in the season, or what?
Not battle of the spoon, but Tigers will be down there. I think Bulldogs are going to beat them and beat them well.
Three-way between them 3 teams, I think.
Yeah,
Chuck Dragons, they're garbage.
Let's get on to the main event. Anyway, boys, want to talk about this as well as a bit more, obviously. I'm going to quickly run through the team list and let me know what you think. For the Broncos, of course. I don't really care about the Rabbits. Asako at fullback. You got Oates and Cobbo on the wings. Staggs and Farnworth at centres, which I think is going to be the centres all year if they stay fit. Not sure about the fullback and wings. I'm not a big fan of how we've laid out there. Halves, Billy Walters, probably same thing. Not really big fan there. We've got Keenan there in prop with Payne Haas. Jake Turpin at hooker. You got Capewell and Ricky in second row. Carrigan there at lock. And our bench looks like Ryan James, Reece Kennedy, Rabati, and Tyrone Roberts in the 17.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, anything stand out to you in that? I suppose don't speak on it overly too much in terms of every individual thing, but what stands out to you the most, I suppose, in that team list? Start with Finch.
As a pro or a con?
Either. What stands out to you the most?
Well, geez, I hope Billy goes well.
Yeah.
That's my concern, but don't like Turpin at 9. Who else we got there? Don't mind having Corey back on the wing, but you know, we've got a couple of other younger fellas nipping at his heels, and I don't like. It's obviously a Sarko at fullback. I don't know. I think everyone thinks that.
Yeah. It's the hit and miss with him. Like he's just like he can turn it on one game. I think the biggest showcase of that was last year against the Titans when he was absolutely shocking in the first half, like led in so many tries and then just turned one up in the second half and won us that game by himself. It's like
one thing I'll say about Osako is he in open play he's brilliant, but he has to be the worst positioned fullback in the game. He's always out of position.
Yeah, and everyone was banging on about Boyd for ages. Like he's even worse.
Don't talk.
Yeah, but at least Osaka doesn't take a dive.
Like I said,
Might as well. He might as well.
Again, I think, but it's obviously with the injury to what's his name again? Christian.
What you thinking? You're talking about the fullback testing you.
Testing you. Obviously, he's the first choice this year, and I think the back end of the year he came really good. Like he's got a good passing game, and he he's a bit better at back end defense. But Broncos haven't had a good fullback in a while. When I mean defensive fullback, nowadays it's all about look at the Boyovich and Billy back in the day. They're just always in the right spot at the right time, and Broncos have been lacking that. So that's a concern, and I just think again with Finchy, the 9. Turpin is a great defender. He doesn't do much in attack. I'd like to see Billy maybe go into the hooker. He gets out of dummy half really well. He's really explosive out of there. Again, I just don't think Turpin's attacking game is quite up to the NRL standards, especially going against Cook, who's probably the best dummy half runner in the game.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I think the forward pack is brilliant. I can't wait to see some of the young fellas rip in. Again, like you said, with the centres, that'll be the centres all year, unless there's injury, of course, and the wingers will Cobbo, and I think they got the right one with Corey there. So pretty happy with the team, but yeah, there's just a couple of spine. Obviously the 1 and the 9, and with Adam coming back in, there's 3 key positions got to change there.
Yeah, look, I'll back you on the number 9 spot for Billy Walters. I reckon, could be a nice surprise. But I'd also like to see Keenan Plaza do well.
Yeah.
He had an injury. He debuted the same game as Xavier Coates against the Sharks. Then I think he tore his ACL. He came back at some point last year and he done all right, but I think he needs a bit more game time. So it'd be nice to see how he does with a bit more game time and if he's a bit more consistent in the first team.
I think this is to showcase what he's got because we know that there's a few boys coming back into the team as well. I think Flegler comes back in like a few rounds. So if he can and then if he can showcase what he can do in this period of time and he stands out, then I think that's his spot to lose.
What do you boys like with Pat Carrigan going back to lock? I'm a big fan of it. I hated when they used him up front. I just don't think he was big enough. I'd also like, I know this is a bit outwind, but I wouldn't mind Tyson Gamble having a crack at lock some stage during the year. I just think he's a big body. He's obviously a playmaker, can slid in there, even if it's just off the bench. But I think the Broncos need to have Gamble in the team because
he needs to be 14.
There's no one else. Yeah, well, he's got the biggest ticker. He just, and that's what you need.
He's got a bit of
I'd like to see Gamble fight his way back in.
Exactly. If you have him at 14 and use him like in a game where we're sort of maybe struggling a bit in terms of that sort of like, a bit of oomph and a bit of fire, then he's perfect. He's going to be perfect to chuck in that 14 role, and you can slot him in at the lock, playing the forwards, playing the halves, whatever. He's going to be that extra bit of aggression that we need, I think. And it's good to see because we've lacked that for such a long period of time. And you've got guys like in the halves at the moment, like Walters and Kelly. It's like they're not going to offer that in any way. Two smaller bodies, and again, even Reynolds there too.
Well,
That's what I'll say about
I'd
this
still
year.
love to see him. Yeah, I'll still love to see him in the halves at some point. I think he plays really well there. He controls the game really well.
Who do you
just
think our
depends
starting? Who do you think our half should be for the year? I'm very, I believe obviously Reynolds is one, but I think Albert Kelly will play perfectly outside of him. This is why Reynolds wants him there too, because he reminds him of Cody Walker. He's a bit off the cast sort of player. So Adam coming back in with a player like Albert outside of him, I feel like it's not going to be a big adjustment from him leaving South where he had Cody. So I'm a big fan of him and Kelly coming together. And
Yeah, I
also
still
last
prefer-
year, Kelly came on and leaps and bounds. I think he was out of the NRL for like 4 or 5 years. He came back in when the teams were swapping and changing. Hasn't played a lot of footy, and I thought he came in and really sort of aimed up and delivered in a team that was pretty poor last year.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's a standout in that Roosters game that we won. I think he basically.
100%.
I'm definitely with you on that. I think,
Reynolds and Albert Kelly play together, so I'm a bit disappointed that Reynolds was out this week, but
I definitely feel like that's a combination for the year. I reckon Kelly's definitely the best option. I'd like to see, obviously depending on sort of certain situations, if players can't play for any reason, I'd like to see that Ezra Mam have a bit of a go there, because I feel like he's similar game to Kelly in a way. I feel like he could just slot in really nicely when Reynolds is there. Reynolds has got the structure, he's got the kicking game, he can direct the team around. The 5'8" doesn't need to do that. He can be in there and just play that for free flow and footy, run when he wants to run, pass when he wants to pass. And it's going to be good to see that from them two blokes. I'm not as keen on Walters. I think, like he's mentioned before, I'd rather him at the 9. He played well in the trials, but he played well in the trials at hooker. He didn't play well in the trials at 5'8".
Or even he could slot in at 14 even, Walters, because he can come in and play that hooker role. And if the half goes down, he can jump in there. So, but I think he's only been thrown in there this week because Adam's obviously out. So,
is this going to be an issue this year that we've got too many to choose from now?
I reckon.
I think it's good. It's someone's spot to lose. If you're performing well, it won't change.
Well, like you were saying for that man, I think he'll get a go at some stage in the year, because, like I say, nowadays you look last year, players like on average use 6 or 7 more players than they normally do in a season, because it's a whole, everyone knows the COVID situation now. So at any given stage, you could have 2 or 3 blokes out. So people like Man and some of these young kids, they're going to get a go at some stage. I'd hate to pick him in the team round 1 for that pressure. He go out, not have a good game instantly.
Shoot the bed.
Too much pressure on a young kid. So I think they'll use him when they can. I think he could be the future for us again. But we've heard a lot of things, and players of or their next Lockyer, the next freaking
they're gonna. He might do one good thing. Is he going to be the next Ash Taylor, get signed somewhere else? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
One game and then sign somewhere else next week. Like, that just happens way too often here.
And he was put on $1 million a season, Ash Taylor. He's getting a lot of money.
No, he's now at the Warriors. Now he's getting I think he's getting the minimum. I think he's on a minimum contract now. The Warriors.
Well, he was on trial. It was a trial train at the start of the year. I don't know if he's gone past that, so he won't even be able to play at around 10 anyway. I think under that new rule.
I'm pretty sure that contract is like I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's like 100 to 200,000.
I don't even think it's that.
It's like 1,500 a week, isn't it? I thought it's like 1,500 a week.
Yeah, wow.
Until they sign a one, trainer trials, just turn up and have a go.
Damn, that's insane. Well, I'm going to briefly touch on the Rabbits here, boys. I'm just going to briefly touch on the Rabbits here. So I'm not really going to give them a rundown in terms of their team, but it's definitely it's more of an inexperienced team than last year. Obviously, they've got Reynolds missing. They've got a new half in there. I like the look of their forward pack. I think they've got a big, strong forward pack, and we definitely need to defend well. Otherwise, they're going to just run over the top of us. And we need to get up in their face in defence, because that's something that we do lack on. I don't know if Finchy as a coach is big on that too, but that's definitely something that we do lack on massively with last year in particular. So the boys just need to show some sort of fight, and I'm sure we'll hang in there with them and hopefully, get the win in the end of the game. And I presume it will be a close one. If it's not a close one and we don't show up, then we're going to get blown out again, and it's going to be a terrible start to the year. So
I'm just scrolling through all the names. Like, how do you stop that pack? It'd have to be one of the top. Well, if not the best forward pack in the game at the moment, wouldn't it?
It is one of the
Nearly.
best packs, I believe. Yeah.
I think the way
We've got a
if the
pretty strong one.
What's that?
Broncos would win this game, they've got a lot of traffic down the new half end. I'd just be running him all night. Big pain.
Definitely.
Pat Carrigan running at him. And the issue is the Broncos will win this game, they've got to slow Cook down.
Yeah.
So the defenders either side of the markers have got to work hard because if they're lazy, Cook's just going to make us pay. And he's one of the best dummy half runners in the game. So I think if we can work really hard on our A and B defenders outside the markers, get up and shut Cook down, pressure on the halfback, Brisbane could come up with an upset. But, yeah, we're going to have a massive game.
That's all just effort, boys. That extra couple of
just gonna
meters
make
is
sure-
going to make.
Yeah. The final
We'll
word.
make sure they don't get.
Your prediction's going to be then. Final word. What's your end score? We'll go through Aaron first.
Oh, jeez. I'm betting with my heart. I'm going, I think Broncos in a close one. Because remember last year, Broncos were up 16-0 at halftime against Parramatta.
Yeah.
Came out in the second half, shut the bed. I think it'll be close to half-time. I think Brisbane will stick with them. But unfortunately, I just think South's I just think they've got too much experience. We've got two young halves that are playing together that haven't played all year. I just think South might get us in the end, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah. Well, they were the grand finalists last year, so it's a tough assignment going up there without Adam Reynolds. So,
What do you think, Corky? Anything similar? Or?
I'm going to go Broncos in a close one. Maybe a front rower as a first try scorer. I'm thinking it's going to be a battle of the forwards.
big
That's what I'm
pain,
going
mate.
with.
Yeah, big pain, yeah.
Big Payne or Plazio, I reckon.
And Finch, what do you think?
Oh, you know me, 13 plus.
Get lost. Don't
No, I think
We're fucking hell with this.
Broncos by conversion to win it
I like that. I like the sound.
on the 80th minute conversion, I reckon.
I'm somewhat with Aaron, but I'm being hopeful, and I'm going to say the same thing. I was going to say 2 to 4 points, I think, Broncos. But that all depends on if we show up. I'm loving doing this with you boys. I want to do it more often. For everyone listening, if anyone is watching, this is essentially what we just do in the pub. We're just doing it now on camera. So if you like it, let us know, and we'll keep doing this each week, regardless of how many people are watching, because we just have fun doing it and like having a few beers here and there. So,
Cheers, boys.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Cheers. Looking forward to doing it again, and hopefully the Broncos get up, eh?
Yep.
Fucking
I'm
nice.
just pumped. Footy's back, boys. How good? One more night.
Good.
Let's go.
All right, boys. I'll catch you, throughout the week.
See you later.
Yeah, boys. Have a good one.
See you later.